Introduction. We create this video to share the solution to use animation in QML application. The application is written by QML language on Qt 5x. We try to manipulate most of animation type of Qt QML such as PropertyAnimation, NumberAnimation, RotationAnimation, SequentialAnimation, PauseAnimation, ParallelAnimation, animation loop, easing type, ColorAnimation. This tutorial is suitable for persons who's starting to study QML language or others who want to find the solution to use QML. GUI components. We implement some objects for this application. Mountain, sky, sun, moon, cloud, boat, star, bird, sea. Workspace. This is workspace of this application. Includes some pictures and QML files. PropertyAnimation. PropertyAnimation provides a way to animate changes to a property's value. This is the most common animation type. We will start to create the workspace in Qt Creator with some objects, sky, sun, mountain, cloud, and try to use PropertyAnimation on them. Create workspace QML animation in mode Qt Quick UI prototype. Clear default source code in QML animation QML. Add all of images, boat PNG, moon PNG, mountain PNG, star PNG, wing PNG to workspace. Create world object. Create the core time using for animation. Create sky object. This is rectangle QML. Create mountain object. This is image QML. Create sun object. This is rectangle QML. Create cloud QML. Create cloud layout. These are combination of 3 circles. Create the internal animation time for cloud. Create the group of clouds object in QML animation QML. Now, we execute to see the output. Create animation to move the sun in horizontal. Create animation to change the sun's color. Create animation to rotate the cloud for. Now, we execute to see the output. NumberAnimation. NumberAnimation is a specialized property animation that defines an animation to be applied when a numerical value changes. We will use NumberAnimation to animate the specific properties of some specific objects in the application.
Create animation to change the sun size.
Create animation to change the cloud one size. Create animation to move the cloud 3 in horizontal. Now, we execute to see the output. Rotation animation. Rotation animation is a specialized property animation that gives control over the direction of rotation during an animation. We will use rotation animation to rotate the cloud object. Create animation to rotate the cloud 1. Now, we execute to see the output. Sequential animation. The sequential animation type allows multiple animations to be run together. Animations defined in a sequential animation are run one after the other. We will use sequential animation to make the sun rise and down.
Create animation to make the sun rise and down.
Now, we execute to see the output. PauseAnimation. When used in a sequential animation, PauseAnimation is a step when nothing happens, for a specified duration. We will use sequential animation and AMP. PauseAnimation to make the sun rise in the morning, keep in the afternoon and down in the night. Create animation for sun keep in the afternoon. Now, we execute to see the output. Parallel animation. Parallel animation types allow multiple animations to be run together. Animations defined in a parallel animation are run at the same time. We will use parallel animation to make animation for the cloud group in parallel. Create animation to mini clouds. Create animation to change the cloud 5 size. Create animation to cloud 3. Create animation to move the cloud 3 in vertical. Now, we execute to see the output.
Animation loop.
All animation type have the loop property to hold the number of times the animation should play. We will make all of current animations to loop forever by set loop property to animation infinite.
Add loop for animation the sun rise and down. Add loop for animation to move the sun in horizontal.
Add loop for animation to change the sun's color. Add loop for animation to change the sun size. Add loop for animation to rotate the cloud 4.
Add loop for animation to many clouds. Add loop for animation to cloud 3. Add loop for animation to rotate the cloud 1.
Now, we execute to see the output.
Easing type.
All animation type have the easing group property to specify the easing curve used for the animation. We will try to apply the easing type for the sun and some clouds.
Add easing in out quad to animation to move the sun in horizontal.
Add easing out in cubic to animation to rotate the cloud 4.
Add easing in out quart to animation to change the cloud 1 size.
Add easing in out quart to animation to change the cloud 5 size. Now, we execute to see the output.
ColorAnimation.
ColorAnimation is a specialized property animation that defines an animation to be applied when a color value changes. We will apply color animation for some objects: sky, sun, clouds. Create animation to change color of sky from morning to night.
Remove original animation on color of sun.
Create animation to change color of sun from morning to night. Create animation to change color of clouds from morning to night. Create C object. This is rectangle QML. Create a group of gradient and color animation for C. Now, we execute to see the output.
ParentAnimation.
ParentAnimation is used to animate a parent change for an item. We apply ParentAnimation in order to change the parent of one cloud. By default, Cloud 2 is the child of World object. We will try to change its parent to Mountain object. Create the state for updating parent of Cloud 2.
Create the transition when the state of Cloud 2 changes.
Create parent animation when changing parent of Cloud 2.
Create the event to process changing the state of Cloud 2.
Now, we execute to see the output.
AnchorAnimation.
AnchorAnimation is used to animate an anchor change.
We will create Bode object and apply AnchorAnimation for it. Create Bode object. This is QML image.
Create the state for updating anchor of boat. The first state will change the boat from left to right. Create the transition when the state of boat changes. Create anchor animation when changing anchor of boat. Create the event to process changing the state of boat. Now, we execute to see the output.
State and transition.
A state is a set of batch changes from the default configuration, while a transition defines the animations to be applied when a state change occurs.
We will use state and transition to manipulate for both.
Create the second state for updating anchor of boat from right to left. Create timer to update the state of boat in repeatedly. Now, we execute to see the output.
SmoothedAnimation.
SmoothedAnimation allows a property to smoothly track a value. We will use SmoothedAnimation to smoothly change the rotation of boat for up and down. Create timer to update the rotation of boat for up and down in repeatedly. Add behavior when rotation change.
Create animation to smoothly change the rotation.
Now, we execute to see the output.
Behavior. A behavior defines the default animation to be applied whenever a particular property value changes. We will create Moon object and apply behavior to it.
Create Moon object. This is Image QML. Create timer to appear and disappear the moon. Add behavior when the moon location change. Now, we execute to see the output.
SpringAnimation. SpringAnimation allows a property to track a value in a spring-like motion.
We apply SpringAnimation for moon object when it changes the location. Apply SpringAnimation when X change.
Apply SpringAnimation when Y change.
Now, we execute to see the output.
Rotation.
The rotation type provides a way to rotate an item through a rotation type transform. This gives more control over item rotation than the rotation property. We create star objects and apply rotation to them. Create star QML.
Create the star layout. This is Image QML.
Create the star layout. This is Image QML.
Create the star objects dynamically when the moon appears.
Create rotation for the star. Apply NumberAnimation when the star is rotated. Now, we execute to see the output.
ScriptAction.
ScriptAction can be used to run a script at a specific point in an animation. We will apply ScriptAction to destroy all star objects. Create SequentialAnimation to destroy the star. By default, it does not work. Apply NumberAnimation on opacity to disappear the star.
Apply ScriptAction to execute script during animation. Create the function to start the animation to destroy the star.
Create the array to store the new stars.
Change to create the list of stars when the moon appears.
Destroy all stars when the moon disappears. Now, we execute to see the output.
PropertyAction.
PropertyAction is used to specify an immediate property change during an animation. The property change is not animated. We create bird object and apply PropertyAction for it. Create bird QML. Create the left wing for bird. Create the right wing for bird. Create the pair of bird. Create rotation to decides the origin. Create SequentialAnimation to process clap the wing. Create PropertyAction to change the origin while animating. Create NumberAnimation to clap the wing up and amp down.
Apply the same mechanism to right wing.
Now, we execute to see the output.
PathAnimation.
PathAnimation animates an item along a path.
We apply PathAnimation to decide the flying direction for bird.
Create ParallelAnimation to process for flying of two birds.
Apply PathAnimation to decide the flying direction for first bird. Apply PathAnimation to decide the flying direction for second bird.
Now, we execute to see the output.